Yeah, good morning, USA, Canada. There are people joining from USA, Canada. Good afternoon, England. Somebody is joining. Rest of Europe, Africa, we have people joining. Good evening, Asia Pacific, whether it's Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Afghanistan. Already I see Unichizada already joined. I see In Narula from Thailand already joined. I see Satit Kumar from Thailand already joined. I see Shefali Singhal already joined. I see Anshul Sharma again. She is a mentee of Dr. Kiran Bedi like me, already joined. Fantastic. Uh, Today is one of the greatest day of my life to present you someone whom I call A, B, C, D, E, F. I want to call this alphabet of A, B, C, D, E, F absolutely brave, committed, dedicated, energetic, full of life personality. I repeat this A, B, C, D, E, F. Absolutely brave, committed, dedicated, energetic, full of life personality, a real fighter, a very intelligent and articulated professional, a dynamic director who has excelled in life with her passion, commitment, and drive. Amazingly, a true story of women power who, irrespective of all odds, specially abled, who challenged everyone and proved them wrong. This A, B, C, D, E, F, absolutely brave, committed, dedicated, energetic, full of life personality is called Ira Singhal. When you talk about this name, IRA, Ira, I call it intelligent, rich, awesome. Intelligent, rich, awesome. An engineering graduate in computer engineering with dual MBA in marketing and finance from FMS Delhi. I respect FMS Delhi a lot. When I was in India, I used to go and deliver talks there. And then topping the civil services examination, the topper of 2014. Big round of applause. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to see. She did work for the corporate world, Cadbury's and Coca-Cola in strategy and marketing. IRA, intelligent, rich attitude. I will call her impressively reaching all around, which you will see yourself. Ira is a brand ambassador for Ministry of Women and Child Development, Niti Aayog. Ira is also the brand ambassador of Department of Disabilities, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Ira is today India Today's Women of the Year 2015. Ira got the President of India Gold Medal for topping IAS. Ira is on the Limca Book of Records. Oh my God. There is huge introduction of this dynamo powerhouse women power. I can be on and on. However, with her permission, I fold my hands to her and I salute her for what she is. I have to move forward. There could have not been any better personality today to be part of this program, which is known as #WomenPower, a global movement. This interaction of mine is several. Every Saturday we have interactions starting from Dr. Kiran Bedi and moving on, and it is going to be near about 100 interactions in next 1 year. This global movement today of women power is now spread in 20 countries around the world with a mission to have 100,000 women to be part of us by 2021 and 1 million women part of us by 2024. Women across the world, irrespective of caste, creed, color, nationality, and religion. I am deeply honored to present you this evening incredible revolutionary Aldor era. Aldor means full of enthusiasm and zest, women of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, people call me Mr. Motivator, Mr. Energy. But when you will hear this bright, young, dynamo powerhouse, you will see what kind of energy, what kind of confidence, and what kind of ability, what kind of articulation, what kind of difficulties she faced, and what kind of challenges she broke. She broke the hell of things. And she will be interacting today. The format would be, I will have some questions for Ira, which I request her to respond, short and crisp. Wherever there's a need of giving a detailed one, it is up to her. She is my guest of honor. And in the meanwhile, I would like audiences on Zoom or Facebook or YouTube to put up their questions. And I would certainly like each and every question to be answered as far as possible in a time span of max 70 minutes. I would take questions from wherever it comes, but on the Zoom, whosoever is available, I would request them to talk themselves also for the questions so that they can directly interact with such a person who is a leader, a director, a women power of par excellence. Now, Madam Hira, with your permission, can I start my questions with you, please?
Please, that was way too much of introduction, I think.
You are someone who's very affectionate, and I have actually become emotional, especially last 2 days. When I contacted you earlier, it was fine. But last 2 days when I went through your entire journey, so I was getting emotional about it, because such a powerful person who dedicatedly and devotedly is ready not only to develop herself, what she has done for herself, but is actually spreading her message of becoming better human being and better professional. So I'm totally amazed. So my question to you is, how was your childhood? What were the major issues you had during the childhood, which you conquered and moved forward? I am keen to know your story of tough, difficult, but your commitment and drive, breaking the same, driving your life to be someone which we all feel proud of.
Actually, as a child, I don't see it as something very, very different. But the truth is that I did have a lot of family issues, all kinds of things. So, because we had a joint family, and the issues were not amongst the joint family, they were external. So all of the family members were equally affected. And so, my childhood was less about my problems and more about everybody's problems. So what happened with that is that we learned, as children, we learned to not focus on ourselves, because everybody else around us was going through something, and the problems of the whole family was so big that, as a child with disability, generally what happens is that all of the family is trying to focus on you, and you get a lot of attention, and you get a lot of charity, and you get a lot of pity from the family. And hence, you get very self-centered, I would say, and self-involved. But in my family, there was no opportunity for that. And my parents were very, very strict, my father especially. And I was always told that these are your physical issues, these are your problems, this is what your disability is. We need to work to overcome this. But that does not mean that you don't have the same standards as all the other children in the household. So, I was set the same standards as everybody else. In fact, for me, the standards were higher because in my household, the standards were basis your ability. And that's one thing that is mostly missing. That because what we normally do is that if there is a child with any kind of disability, you allow that person to not perform in all the other areas where they do not have that disability affecting them. So, for example, in a normal household, if there is a child who has some problem with one arm, you make all the other people in the household go bring things to that person, go do that person's homework, help that person out in everything, in things that they don't even need it. But in my family, it was the opposite. So all of us children had to, contribute equally and had to work for every, have the same parameters. For me, the parameter was that you have to be amongst the top 2 or top 3. While for the other children, it was maybe 60% or 70% or just passing. So the parameters in my family were set according to the ability. And we were all told that these are things that you are bad at, but these are also things that you are not bad at. And then you don't get an excuse to be to not perform in those areas. So, I was not forced into sports because obviously I couldn't do those. But then I had to study and I had to perform and be an all-rounder and all the other things. So I was pushed into all sorts of competitions and everything. And we had a lot of problems within the, of the family as such, financial problems and other issues. So because of that, the focus within the family was more about the adults and the problems that the whole family was facing rather than, my individual problems. So I think that really helped in looking out. Mostly what we do is we don't allow children with disabilities to look out in the world. I'll tell you a simple thing. One of the big things that I get from a lot of people is that I'm a person with disability and the world is not nice to me. The world doesn't sit and listen to me. And my question to such people is, how many people do you sit and listen to? How many people have you reached out to and tried to help? Why is the world always owing you something? And that's the attitude we bring into our children with disability right from the childhood. We start telling them that the world owes you something because you got a disability. So that didn't happen with me, and I, try and communicate that same thing to others around me, that just because there is one thing in your life which isn't working out, that doesn't mean that the other things shouldn't. And instead of focusing on what you don't have, how about focusing on what you do have and then pushing that forward? So my childhood was a mess of things, a lot of problems, and I think that's what makes you strong. So I believe that if as a kid you go through a lot of things, a lot of issues, a lot of problems, that makes you stronger as an adult, and you start figuring out what is important and what is not. So early childhood, I understood what is really important in life and what isn't. And, it made me practical in the long term. It made me be a person who can differentiate between the big picture and the small picture.
Beautiful. You rightly said, focus on what you want to have. Do not focus on what you do not want to have. And that is the changing the gears of a young child moving forward to a direction which is quite focused. Ira, who impacted you most in driving your life to excellence? Was it father or mom? What did they do different to get you going, growing, glowing to the level of unknown, unheard future of yours? That time when you were growing, and who was it? Was both? It was who was more or less, and how did they were different to make you to go, grow, glow in a world which was totally unknown, unheard future of yours? I'm very keen to get to know. We know mom is a quality. We always talk about mother being the quality.
In my case, I think it's my father, because it was completely my father's decision. He gave me a lot of freedom to make my own choices, but at the same time, he made me aware of, this is where your choices will go. So I was given the choice, but I was also shown the consequences of each of my actions. And, that's something that we don't do to our children. We keep telling them, do this. While in my family, I was told that these are things that you want to do, but this is where it's possibly going to lead. So then pick your choices and, decide for yourself. So I was always, and most of the times, we try to protect our children. I was never protected. My parents never protected me from the truth, never protected me from the world. In fact, I remember we had just moved to Delhi, and we were living in a rented accommodation, and my neighbors' kids who were 3-4 years older to me, I was around 12, yeah, I was 12 or 13, and we all decided to go to Pragati Maidan for a fair, or Apughar maybe. There was, and those people had spent all their lives in Delhi. I had moved to Delhi a year before them, and I was the one who took everybody in the bus and knew the routes and knew where to go and how to go, and they didn't. And that came from the fact that since childhood I was made very independent, and I was made very capable, and I was not allowed to make an excuse for anything. So I call my childhood very cruel. My dad was extremely cruel. He didn't let me pity myself. He didn't let me make an excuse for anything. I will say one more thing. I was never compared with others. My comparison was always with myself. And that's a very big thing. So most children are compared with neighbors or with someone else. And, we're always being told that, see, that one has done this, so why can't you? In my case, my targets were set according to me. So for me, why should you not know the routes? Why should you not be good at this? Why should you not be good at that? And that was the conversation. It was never about someone else is good at this and someone else is better at this. My conversation was always, why shouldn't you be? And, I was never allowed to make an excuse. I was never allowed to say that I can't do this without trying it. So I was forced to try everything. And, if you don't, you can't do it, you can't do it. But that pity and the excuse, they were missing. And it was not, with the support, I was made independent. So that is, I think, where all the difference lies. That I was told that, you have to make your choices, you have to decide your path, but this is where it leads. So think about it and then do what you want.
Very great. Fantastic. So you were competing with yourself, and normally we all tell our children to compete with others. What a great learning you are giving. Tell me, Ira, did you really plan your life to be what you are today, or you just kept moving? I see you studying. Oh, kitna padha? How much you have been studying? You studied engineering, you studied double MBA, you tried again and again civil service exam. You never, ever give up whatever happens. How did all this happen? Planned? Unplanned? What was that?
So when I was a child, I was around third, fourth class. At that time, I was living in Meerut, and we had a lot of communal riots in Meerut. So because of that, our city was in a curfew for. So there have been 2 years of my life that I went to school for just 6 months. For the rest of the 6 months, there was a curfew in my city, so we didn't go to school. We stayed at home, and at the same time, I was learning about civil services and what people as district magistrates and all do. So somewhere the idea of becoming a civil servant came in then. Plus, I always wanted a profession where I could make a difference. I could help people. I could save lives. So I wanted to be a doctor. I actually wanted to be a doctor or a civil servant, specifically IS or the IFS. And when it was time to make a choice for medicine, my father said that you look like a patient yourself. Really, nobody's coming to treatment to you. And that was a smart choice. I mean, so I understand that now. So engineering happened through that because my dad's an engineer, so he thought, that's an easier, physically easier route. Business school happened because that's actually something that I enjoyed doing. So the exact plan of career in terms of business school and engineering wasn't really like that. That was more of what is your next step sort of thing. But getting into civil services was a long-term childhood plan. I obviously started working on it much later in my life. I see a lot of kids today at, I just got a message from someone who was in class 8 and who wants to start preparing for civil services right now. And I think that's way too much pressure for yourself and way too long-term planning. So I did step-by-step planning, but there was obviously a long-term goal somewhere in my head that this is where you want to finally go. But see, the problem with very focused plans is if they don't work out, then you're left with nothing.
Very good.
So that's a big. Yeah. So,
That's a
so
yeah, yeah. Go
what
ahead. Go ahead.
that's a big mistake that most of us make. We make a long-term plan and then we get so emotionally attached to it that we fail to see ourselves in other positions, and we fail
Uh,
to plan for the failure of that plan. And that's the biggest mistake most of us make, because we always plan for success. See, if you don't plan for success, you obviously can't do that thing. But you must have a plan for failure. You must have a plan B, because that's the only way you can keep real about what you're doing. And nothing is always in your hand. You can only do your efforts. Sometimes there are things which are controlled by other parameters, so you must always have a plan B. So engineering and MBA was my plan B, and civil services was plan A. So I got into a plan A after my plan B was very solid and very grounded and was ready to jump back to.
So your message is you need to have a proper plan, but keep a plan A as well as plan B
Yes.
very much there, so that even if you fail in plan A, you can go to plan B. And from plan B, you can go to plan A again. You can
Yes.
travel back and you can achieve that in
Yeah.
case you
In
want to
fact,
do that.
according to me, do your plan B first.
Do
You
the
know,
plan B. Wow.
because
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happens. If you've been trying for plan A and it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
you actually have the tag of failure with you.
Oh,
And you
wow.
have that emotional baggage of failure with you. So
Oh
then
my
being
God.
successful at a plan B or a plan C becomes
Yeah.
much tougher. But if you have a plan B at which you've been successful, then A,
Mm,
your confidence for plan A is better.
mm,
You've already succeeded at something, so you know that you can do this. You know
mm,
yourself better, so you know what mistakes you make. You know what problems tend to come in. Being successful at anything. Plus, your approach to things is a little more realistic and a little more confident and positive. And when if and when plan A fails, then your plan B is already made, and it's made with a positive mindset. So that has a much more chance of success than had you come from a completely failed perspective of plan A. So we forget to take care of our mental health. We forget to be kind to ourselves and to plan for ourselves, because it's very tough to pick yourself up after failing at something where you've dedicated years. And whether it's a business, whether it's preparation for an exam like this, whatever, it's very tough to pick yourself up from a failure. So but if you have succeeded at things and then failed at something, you at least can, you have that confidence that no, that is one thing that I failed at. I didn't fail at life. What we mostly do is we tell ourselves that I have failed at life. I'm a failure, and then being successful becomes much tougher. But if you have succeeded at some things but failed at something, then it's easier to separate your failure from your own talent and caliber, and you can be a little more realistic and you can move on better in life. So I personally think it's always a better idea to do your plan B first. Plan your plan A such that you can do your plan B first and then get into your plan A.
then travel back to plan A.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think
This is
that works better.
one of the greatest learning. One of the greatest learning you have, though it is not possible for me to go back to 16 to 25, but I want to tell you, even at 60, I am still young to do another 25 years of innings. So I'm still planning. But today you gave me a learning of going to B and then travel to A. Tell me, you are so much energetic. Ira is so much energetic. Where from you draw this energy, this powerhouse? What is the secret of your energy and passion? What drives you so much?
I think in my head I'm a very positive thinking person, and
Wow.
at the same time I'm a realist. I'm not someone who is blindly positive and blindly optimistic. I'm actually
Wow.
a positive realist, is what I call myself. I know that there can be failure. I know that I have actually admitted and accepted failure as part of life, and then I move forward. Most people fail at accepting failure. So if you keep accepting that things may not work out, and I think it comes from being a person with disability, that from childhood you accept that things are wrong. You have two options. You can either accept your disability and then move on, or you can fight it and be ashamed of it, and expect the world to be nice to you and kind to you because something went wrong in your life which you couldn't control. or you can, decide that this is what is wrong with your life. Everybody else has something wrong with theirs. So, it's just a part of how you are, and then you move on from that. So, as a child, I learned to accept failure, and I learned that you will not be the best at everything. You will not do everything well. So, but there's no harm in trying. You never know what you might do well at. So that's, I think, where I draw my energy, and that's, I think, where I get the energy to move on to the next step. And I don't get emotionally attached to my results. I get emotionally attached to my efforts, but I don't get emotionally attached to my results. So if things don't work out, if it doesn't happen, it's okay. There is something, like I said, if your plan B has worked out, you know that something does work out. So it's easier to move on. It's easier to plan for next things. So yeah, and I also, like I said, I wasn't ever taught to compare myself to others. But so I'm also someone who sees my own mistakes very easily. I apologize very easily, and I see my own mistakes very easily. I admit my mistakes, at least to myself. I always admit my mistakes, and to the other person as well. I mostly admit my mistakes, and I apologize easily, and I then learn from my own self, because most of the time we're very afraid to admit our own mistakes. We are very afraid to say that we were the one who was wrong. And till the day we don't say that, we're always going to be wrong, because how do you cure something that you haven't identified, right? It's like when you're a doctor, you can't cure a disease that is not identified. So had coronavirus not been identified, we wouldn't have been curing it, right, today, and we wouldn't have been working at the solution. So it's the same thing. If you don't identify your own problems and your own mistakes, you don't cure them, and you keep making that, and you keep making it worse. So I tend to identify my own problems. I tend to identify my own mistakes, and I then decide that this is what I did wrong. This is where I messed up. So I need to clean it up, and I need to move on. I hope that made sense.
Beautiful. And you were saying that you are not getting emotionally attached to the results,
No.
but you are getting emotionally attached to your efforts. And when the result comes out, you say, okay, it is not done, it's not done. But most of us do not get emotionally attached to the efforts, while others get emotionally attached to the results. Oh my God, what a learning you are giving. What a phenomenal. You, your genes are so bright, you are so intelligent. Tell me, what makes you to be so different? Don't talk about don't talk about disability. You are especially you are abled person. Don't use this word at all. Please don't use this word at all. People who do not have great character, who do not do great jobs, who are foolish, are disabled. I can say that.
No, but I disagree with you. You know what? All of us are disabled. Tell me this today. Can you climb Mount Everest right now?
You're not.
So you're also disabled.
Yes,
So the way I see it, everybody is disabled. Just that the way we are disabled is different.
True. Wow.
Everybody is disabled.
How do you break the chains? How did you break the status quo? Remember on 4th July 2015, when you got the IAS topper, you know what you said? A great moment for me and my life. What was going on in your mind that time when you got the biggest achievement of your life? Please share. 4th of July 2015. I read it on the newspaper, and you said, great moment of me and my life, and that was the best.
I didn't. I actually didn't say that. I never said that.
It has come on the newspaper.
Yeah, I know. I know, because media tends to add a few things that you don't say. So it's one of those. I never said that, because for me, getting this result had only one meaning. I now got to do the work that I wanted to do. I got to be at a place where I could actually make a difference. So for me, my achievement was not clearing civil services. My achievements are the work that I think I've done after that. So I'm not someone who thinks it's a great thing that you've done something for yourself, because clearing the exam is only about you. But for me, my achievements are things that I've done after that. My achievements are work that will come from now, and the difference that I make in someone's life in the position that I'm sitting at. So for me, those are the achievements. I don't think clearing the exam was an achievement. That was just, about getting that opportunity. And to me, really what went on in my head was, thank God this is over. Thank God this is done. It was such a relief to actually get to that point because it had taken a lot of struggle. And so for me, the only thing I was thinking was, oh, thank God, I now get to do things that I want to do. And I'll tell you, I quit my corporate job because, not because I wasn't good at it. I was in fact one of the best employees in the company. And to retain me, they were changing the policies in London just to retain me. They were changing the HR policy in London so that, they could just retain me. And we were three people who quit at the same time for the same thing, to prepare for civil services. And only for me, they were changing the policy. And they didn't let me quit for 3-4 months because they were trying that, if they can change the policy and retain me somehow. And they were like, we'll give you whatever you want, just stick around. Okay, you want to give this exam, go give it, come back after that if it doesn't work out. But my point was, I wanted my day to make a difference. I wanted my work to make a difference. I wanted to be in a position where my having been there made someone's life better, and that's the reason that I quit my job. And that's the reason I got into civil services. So for me, clearing the exam was not the big achievement. For me, the big achievements are the things that I get to do after that. So on a personal this exam was never about glory for myself. I literally live in the same house. I have the same friends. I have the same family circle. And for me personally, nothing has changed. Except that now I get an official car to go to work and come back. Nothing has changed on a personal note. I may have less money now to spend because in the corporate your salaries are a lot better. I earn almost 1/10 or 1/15 of what my corporate salary today would be. So on a personal front, nothing has changed. The only thing is I am a lot more emotionally satisfied in terms of what I get to do. So for me, that day was just about relief, like, thank God it worked out.
In fact, I was told that on 11th of October 2015, again the media says, not eligible to be a sweeper, but I am an IS officer. Is that the media saying or what?
That's true. That's true. That's true. Because as per the current rules of disability, people with disabilities, my category is only eligible in the IAS. I'm not eligible for any other job in the country. It's absolutely insane. It makes no sense, but that's the truth. And I'm the only person who's eligible. I'm only eligible to get a government job as an IS officer, which is absolutely crazy because I can't be a clerk, I can't be a teacher, I can't be anything except an IS officer, which is, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Did you got the help of people who challenged you? Did you get challenged by people?
See, the problem is most people are very narrow in their thinking, and we are since childhood taught to see things and then make a judgment. It takes a lot of effort to actually spend that much time figuring things out, evaluating someone neutrally. We all come from a bias, and like I said, for people with disabilities there are only two perspectives. Either it's the charity perspective and the pity perspective, or the perspective is that this person can't do anything, because we think of them as shame and us people that we need to be ashamed of, or people who are weak and people who are incapable. So we either think of them in the sense of let's reject them, or we think of them, oh, poor them, and let's give them pity and charity. So to be taken as an equal and to be taken as a neutral, as an equal, sort of as a person with capabilities, it takes a lot of effort on the other people. So that was the point that people weren't willing to give you that opportunity. People weren't willing to let you prove that you could do this. So yeah, and in fact for me, the corporate sector was a lot nicer, and I got my opportunities a lot more easier in the corporate sector than I did in the government. But of course, now I do get everything, and now I get to like you introduced, I get to speak up.
Now you are at a level which is very senior, IAS officer, director level. So you still miss Cadbury and Coca-Cola days sometimes.
Well, the time that was available for yourself was a lot more then. And there you could switch off work when you came back. Now I don't switch off work ever.
Oh, I was just talking to you before we started. You said there's a television behind me, but I have not watched the television last 20 years. How come that?
I was in an office for 20 years, but honestly, I'm not someone who sits and wastes time much. I'm not someone
Oh,
who wastes a lot of time. So in my head, there is. I actually, even when I'm sitting and introspecting, I call that as a useful time spent because it's very important to sit and introspect and to analyze yourself. But I don't waste time thinking about others, and I don't waste time judging others, and I don't waste time just randomly, wasting time. So I always have books around me. I always carry my Kindle. So I'm either reading and I also slot my relaxation time because I think it's very important to detox your brain from things and to give yourself space to relax and then come back to what you're planning. It helps. In our country, generally in our culture, we don't allow ourselves to relax. If in fact, for parents, if you see your child relaxing, you start hammering the child as to why are you wasting time, why are you wasting time. So what happens then is in rebellion, most people end up wasting a lot of time. Most people, do because if you're told not to do something, you automatically do that. So I was told not to read, as my parents actually thought reading was a bad thing because I was not reading textbooks and I was reading other things. And let me just show you. This is my library, like
wow.
3 layers of books. So I ended up reading a lot, and that obviously helped me become a much better orator. Much better at a lot of things that analyze. So
So wonderfully one approach. Where is that negativity which comes in mind when we struggle in life in our rights day to day? Things go wrong. We get into negativity. But how could you mission the person with that guts, that grounded completely and making everybody to guess, I am different? How come?
it comes from childhood, it comes from an upbringing, and it comes from being always made to have a real perspective. Like I said, I was never allowed that excuse at home also. So my parents never asked anybody else to do my assignments or let me I was in fact the one who was made to help others. I was told to focus on others and to make things easier for others. So
Oh,
that comes from childhood, that if you so in my family, my mother also, generally what happens is that if you have a child with disability, everything is about that child. In my case, it was more about my parents' profession and their job and their work, and they had their office at home, so it was always office happening, and the excuses, my life was never made the focus for me. My I was told that your needs and your desires and your whole thing has to fit into the big picture, and it has to match what is really needed. So need versus desire was always separated, and that's how I've always been made to live. So I carry that from myself. And also
brilliant.
I've had terrible friends who basically are very brutal and tell me to my face that, listen, you also do this. So I have friends who keep me real. They tell me to my face that you're saying this now, but listen, didn't you do that at that point yourself? So I've been unlucky with friends as well. So very similar parents and friends. Keep you real, and I think that's one thing that most of us should do. We should have people who tell us our faults around us. Most of us hate people who tell us things on our face. Obviously, it's about kindness and it's about the intent of the other person. That why are they telling you that? But I've been lucky, and I'm also the same way with my friends. I tell them what they're doing wrong, not to be mean, but to help them out and make them see that the picture is not just what they're seeing. So I had friends who helped me analyze my own actions, and that's something that I do for others as well. So that keeps you real, that keeps you grounded, and that keeps you motivated in life as well. Because see, the only person you can change is yourself. I cannot
Absolutely.
control your actions. I cannot control someone else's actions. The only person I can control and change is myself. And I've learned to go just focus on my actions and my what I put out in the world, and go from there. Because if I'm worried about other people, and if I focus on other people's actions, I can't do anything about it. That's the easiest way to be depressed. If the more you externalize your locus of control, the more you're depressed. So Find your own faults, find your own actions, be real with yourself, because the only person you control and change is yourself. So that's what I tend to do. I don't blame everybody else for my mistakes, which is what
You
normally
are
we.
You are an inspiration. I tell you, you are an inspiration. And when these college students, university students, engineering college students, when you go and give sermons to these thousands of students, they literally get mad when I saw your YouTubes. And the way you tell them and communicate to them is so much upon. You are an inspiration. I am so excited. Ira, you seem to be a real women power with your family support, of course, with your dad. How do you see, what's your message? And now here, since we are running a women power, a global movement, hashtag women power global, what's your message to women here about how do they need to take their life forward when they face so much challenge in a men-dominated world, be it home, community, society, corporate house, everywhere.
See, we need to realize one thing about women in this world is
Yeah.
that you are born with guilt, and as you grow older, you keep piling that guilt on. And
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
fact. Most of us women are born with guilt of being a girl. So the minute you're born, everybody has already given you that guilt. You did something wrong by being a girl at the time of your birth. And then as you grow older, subtly the society keeps piling on your guilt. Subtly the society keeps telling you that this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you. Because if you think about it, has anybody ever told a guy that you should do this because you're a boy? No. We have so many shoulds for girls. You should do this because you're a girl. You should talk like this because you're a girl. You should dress like this because you're a girl. You should sit like this. You should have these timings. You should talk to such people. So all of it is about shoulds for a girl. And so my thing to women is start deciding which of those shoulds are about you having to do them as a human being, and then which of those shoulds are about you being a girl and hence making it easier for someone else. You know, a lot of the times we tell our girls you should be polite because when you get married, how will you live with your in-laws? So it's about making the lives of your in-laws easier, and not about how being polite is a nice way to live in the world itself. You know, all the shoulds that we have for women are about making someone else's life easier. And that's where I have a problem. The shoulds that exist should be about being a good human being, being someone who adjusts well in the world around you and who makes the world around you a nicer place. You know, man is a social animal. So why is that all the rules apply to women? Why not to the men as well? So my point is simply that all of us need to follow the shoulds that make us better people. So don't spit on the road. So you should not spit on the road. You should wash your hands. You should respect your elders. You should be polite to everybody. I don't see why your shoulds should be different from men simply because you're a girl. So that's my message to women, that you're born with guilt, but you must learn to stop adding the guilt on. So, you know, working women have the guilt that I'm not a good mother. Girls who are sitting at home have a guilt that I'm not contributing to the family income. I'm not a good cook. I'm not a good housemaker. We're constantly being told to add guilt to our lives, and we keep piling that on. So, you know, how many men get that guilt that I go to work and leave my children at home? But every single working woman with children does. Why? Because as a society, we condition ourselves that women have these shoulds, and you know, so you keep adding on to the guilt, and that's where women make our lives much tougher for ourselves. So that's my message to women, that learn to separate your shoulds from what you should do as a good human being versus what you should do to make someone else's life easier. You know, you should be a good cook because it makes your in-laws and your husband's life easier. Why? You should be a good cook for yourself, right? You should learn to do that. And why shouldn't men learn to cook? Today, most men live alone, you know, for work. You live in different places. So why should you not know how to cook? And why should men not know how to iron their clothes and how to take care of your things? So as a human being, all these rules apply to everybody. And you should be nice and polite to everybody. So that's the thing that I think we should have.
What a brilliant message this super women power era is giving. Ideal, reachable, admirable era. Ideally reachable, admirable era. Tell me, Ira, now I have been told, I did some research and I found out, as a director of your department with holding such a top position, you are giving accountabilities and responsibilities to various people under you. And then you have a very strong review mechanism, I am told. I am told you're very stringent and you are lovable. You take care of people a lot. But on the deliverables, on the accountabilities and responsibilities and deliverables, you're very stringent when it comes to review mechanism. How was this journey for you? That too in a men-dominated place where you are at the top, and what kind of challenges you are facing while doing this, but then you are ensuring the deliverables are done. How is that review mechanism for you one of the biggest factor of life? I was told your review mechanism is the best in Delhi. Some of the people I spoke.
Okay, I don't know who you spoke to, but I don't have any comparisons. But I actually follow the HR rules very strictly. So I help my employees a lot in their work. I make life easier for all of them. In terms of, I reduce the effect of external factors. So, for example, if it's an interdepartmental coordination work, I ensure that there is coordination. I get other departments on board, and I see most of the times we work from our ego perspective, and we refuse to see the other person's side. So what I do is I'm very fair. So I see everybody's point, and then I decide what is the actual fair decision in this situation. So I don't let you be lazy, but if there is an actual restriction on your end, then I will let you have it. So then I will let you not do it because you have that actual restriction. So my only parameter is you shouldn't be saying no because of your laziness. You shouldn't be saying no, and you shouldn't be doing something because you don't feel like it and you don't want extra burden. But other than that, if there are genuine issues, I will solve them for you. I will ensure that things are there for you to help you in your job. And I'm not unfair. That's the one thing. I'm not unfair to anybody. I'm strict, but I'm very, very fair. And I think that's what you've possibly heard.
Beautiful. You are brilliant in your responses. Now, we are trying to close my questions. Now, as I said, we are into women empowerment. What is women empowerment for you? How do you talk to people about women empowerment? That too, when you are an ambassador of women empowerment, Government of India, what is women empowerment for you?
For me, women empowerment is just all of us getting the same opportunities. So, you shouldn't close opportunities to anyone because of external factors which they couldn't control. So, if I can do this, let me do it. That's it. For me, women empowerment is simply about not closing opportunities to people basis their gender, basis, their backgrounds, basis, things that they couldn't control. So it's not just women empowerment, it's everybody getting the equal opportunity basis your ability. You should get your opportunities basis your ability and not other factors. That's it. So me, empowerment is simply us letting our girls study, us letting our girls go to college, letting our girls have jobs because they're good at it. I actually have a problem. I'll tell you a thing that most society is doing. So I was an examiner for, so when there are government exams, officers are made the in charges of the center where the exam is being held. So I was an examiner for, the in charge of a lot of centers. And there were these exams which are held for teachers. And there would be special exams for female teachers. There are like special seats for women teachers. And the ratio in exams which are for teaching, for women at least, there would be 80% attendance in any exam. So, there was a lot of women participating. There were a lot of women participating in these exams. So there was this one exam which was for a Group B General Administration post. And I was the center in charge, and there were two women who were the next in charge after me. And after them, there were, like it was a 4-layer thing. So I was the top layer, and then second layer was two women with me, and then after that, there were a lot of men. And those two women had also come through the same exam. So I was at the center, and there were 370 plus candidates. And after some time, I noted, I just registered to me that there was not even a single female in the whole exam center. So I thought that maybe this exam center is only for men. So I called up the exam board and I asked them that is this only a men's center? They said, no, it's a co-ed center. Everybody can come. So, think about it, that these are administration positions and there were no women applying for them. There was, so then those two women that were there with me, I asked them, they had daughters who were old enough, and I asked them, so why is this happening? Have you made your daughters apply? And they had also made their daughters into teachers. And the logic is, if you're a teacher, you go in the morning with your child, you come back at lunch with your child, you prepare the breakfast, you prepare the lunch, and you prepare the evening tea and the dinner for your husband. So, you prepare the breakfast when going for your husband. Then you come back, you go with your child, you're always there with your child. You get money also, in a way working also, and you get a lot of leaves also. So, your schedule is mapped to your child and your husband. So you're there constantly for both of them, and at the same time, you also earn some money. So we're not allowing these women to become teachers because they're good at it. And that's why we have problems in our education system. That's why we have issues, because we're not making people who are good at being teachers become teachers. We're making people become teachers because it's convenient for the men and the children in their lives. And, it's convenient for their in-laws that you have that lifestyle. Because, if you're working, you also get that money. And really, your work doesn't affect anybody because you get leaves and you go with your child and you take care of your child and you take care of your husband when he comes back home. So it's quite a shameful scenario. And that's where my problem is, that we are not allowing our women to have these opportunities. We are not allowing women work to the extent of their ability. We're letting them work to where it is convenient for the rest of us. And that's precisely what I say. That's empowerment to me, that everybody works to their ability and not to where it's convenient for others.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Varsha, can you share the presentation? My questions are over. I would just want to share with you 3 slides of Women Power, which is global movement, and then I go to the questions from the audiences. So let me quickly share with you. This Women Power, a global movement, is a movement around the world which is going to be taking forward. Have a look. The first slide, and this is built up by us. Yeah, go. Women, warping wisdom of leadership traits. Oh, opportunities to nurture talent for excellent plentos. Mastering the art of women empowerment. Enlightening perseverance for women's social justice, nurturing women to be powerful, passionate nation and global builders. Next one, power. Partnering with other genders equally to promote excellence, ownership of leadership attributes, behaviors to drive performance, willingness to shoulder equal and enhanced responsibility and accountabilities, establish smart goals with commitment of actions for deliverability. Regenerate the essence of women power with focus on project and financial management skills to excel in competition. That is women power. And the vision is empowered women living a dignified and safe life with opportunities for growth, development, and well-being. And the mission is promote holistic development of women through well-researched interventions for empowering women to become change enablers for the community by support them to develop to their full potential. And the values are care, C-A-R-E, courageous and compassionate, authentic and agile, resilient and robust, empowered and equality. Now today this women power is in India, Afghanistan, Australia, Canada, Denmark, Fiji, France, Germany, Indonesia, Laos, Next one. Lebanon, Lithuania, Nigeria, Singapore, South Africa, Spain, Thailand, Turkey, United Kingdom, USA, and UAE. And this year, you can close this, Varsha, and I can go back to Ira. Now, Ira, are you there? Yes, you're speaker. You're muted.
Okay, yeah.
Now, this is women power. Now, this women power is already spread. And we are now talking, and because of the COVID, now we are doing the digital mode, otherwise face to face, till December 21. There will be storytelling around the world. There will be almost 120 storytelling sessions till December 21. That's my target. Now I am going to public, and I am allowing everybody to come and share what they want to ask you. And here is question. I have Yon. Yon is in Lisbon. Yon is our women power in charge of USA. She is right now in Lisbon. Yon, you have anything to ask? Please go ahead. Anyone who has a question? Or
Yes, can you
Sorry,
hear
I
me?
couldn't hear the. Sorry, this is Joan from Lisbon. I couldn't hear the question, DK, very well.
yeah, I said anything you want to question, you want to ask this young dynamic lady who has made impactful presence in Government of India, topper of Indian Administrative Services, and she's the director of a big department. Any questions? Anything you want to ask?
No, I caught only the last part of the conversation because I had issues with my internet because I'm traveling today. But it's a very compelling story, and I think equal opportunities for everyone is definitely where we need to all work together to achieve. And I think she's got some great steps toward. She has done some great steps toward that. I don't have any questions per se, but I am in total support of what she said.
Fantastic.
And I apologize for joining.
Thanks for joining from Lisbon. How long you're going to be in Lisbon?
I'm going to be in Lisbon until November. Then I come back to the US for about 6 weeks. And then I come back to Lisbon for about 6 months.
Oh.
I work with government entities. Yeah, I work with government entities and airlines to rebuild sustainable tourism aligned with the 17 UN goals.
Very great. Fantastic. We have question. I think Anshul Sharma wants to ask a question. Anshul is from Mumbai. She is again a mentee of Dr. Kiran Bedi. She does a lot of work on the foundation as well. And she's the women power of Mumbai. Yes, Anshul, please. Unmute yourself. Anshul, go ahead. Anshul, you can ask a question.
Should I just answer one of the questions that was there? In Narula, I believe asked about teasing and bullying when you're growing up. The world can only make you feel bad about something if you decide there is something wrong with you. So you can only be teased or bullied about things that you are ashamed of. And I was actually never ashamed of who I was. In my life, since the focus was always on abilities, I was always very, very good and maybe better than most people at quite a few things. And there is this one thing that I do. If someone looks at, that's one thing that most people mistake and commit that as a mistake. Is someone frowns at you and looks at you strangely, you assume that that person is against you and you react negatively. What I instead do is if someone's looking at me and, being me, like generally kids do this. They look at you like, they pass comments and they're gossiping and they're doing, uneducated women from rural areas or, even in the foreign countries, women that are not educated and all, they tend to behave like this, that they look at you very strangely and then they start gossiping amongst themselves, commenting on you. So there are two things available to you at that point. One, you can feel bad about it, and you can, get a negative impression of them and of yourself, and just take that situation negatively. Second, you can think that if I had seen someone like me here, I would also react like this. If today there is an elephant that walks into your room, you are going to look at that elephant strangely, right? Because that's not something that you see normally, and that's not something that you're used to. So it's okay if they are curious about you and they're gossiping. If so, what I normally do is I give them a smile and I give them a wink, and I say hello if they're close enough, and I 99% of the time I get a hello back and a smile back, and that just changes their perspective about someone who looks like me, and it changes my perspective towards them. So it's, you have to understand that most people are reacting to you because of you looking strange, and if you were in their position, you would do the same thing. So it's like I said, you have to be honest with yourself. So if they are reacting to you in a strange way, and they look at you strangely when you're walking by and they're commenting, you're also going to be the same person. You're going to do the same thing. I can take that negatively, and I can be offended, and I can feel hurt, and I can think, oh my God, the world is so mean. Or I can say that the world is curious, and I can solve their curiosity. And most of the time, I go explain what my situation is and what my disability is to people myself. People are a little hesitant and ashamed of asking. I just go and tell them, because I'm not ashamed of who I am. I don't think there's anything wrong with me.
Beautiful.
So I don't want you to think there's something wrong with me, and I make sure that you don't. And
Yes.
as far as teasing and bullying goes, when kids do that, they can do that if you are someone who's who reacts in that with to that thing negatively, and you get bullied. You can only be bullied, if you agree to be bullied. So I never agreed to be bullied, and I was in fact the one who stopped other people from bullying others. So I was that defender sort of person. And because I was, always extremely good at my studies in school, and I was somehow the leader in my class most of the time. So I didn't go through a lot of teasing and bullying. And, I was a great dancer, and I was excellent at theater, and I was great at studies. So I reduced the things I could be bullied about. There really wasn't anything you could bully me about, except for me being tiny. And really, how is that a problem? So I'm tiny. So what? I mean,
Beautiful.
only thing that does
Priya,
is
you're
a
inspiring.
yeah. So I need a staircase to reach things if you keep them up there. But that's it. That's all it is. And my disability obviously has other things, other ways that it affects me. But that's not really something that you would realize immediately when you meet me. So you can only bully me about things that I feel bad about, and I don't feel bad about things. I don't feel bad about myself. So I hope that
Yeah,
answers.
Anybody
good.
else has a question?
Bakshi sir, am I audible?
Yeah. Please, Anshul.
Okay, yeah. Great evening to you and Ira. You are such an inspiration, and thanks, Bakshi sir, for having her, for this live session. You won't believe, Ira. I started, one fine day. I like recently at my institute in Navi Mumbai. We have, introduced one course that is BA in Civil Services. And that was the day when I thought, why don't I invite you for one of these sessions at my institute? And I started, doing some research over that. And trust me, more than 3 hours continuously, I just watched your videos. And it was so inspirational. My goodness, that, one that actually hit me from core of my heart was wherein you were talking to, Jyotia Mandal. Jyotia Mandal, who's Lok Adalat judge,
Yes,
and who's,
Goita
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is, something that, not only teaches directly, but indirectly, you are giving so many teachings to all of us, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the, gender. It's really so good about you. And one thing that certainly I would like to know from you is, that during your discussion today, you told about your father who was quite strict while, broughting you up, and you called him cruel also, that your childhood was cruel. And, I think most of the kids these days have the same problem. unlike you, you had so much of clarity about what you want to do in your life and how you want to go about it. But most of the kids these days, first of all, they do not have the clarity what they want to do. And when parents are pushing them, or parents are just telling them that this would be better, or you can go that way or this way, they are not accepting those facts, or they are not obeying what parents says, but yes, they will obey whatever their friends are telling. So what message you would like to convey to youngsters of today, that what they need to do and how they can cope up with the this situation, and at the same time the parents who are dealing with such vulnerable minds, because kids at the, today's time are very difficult to handle.
So I have a suggestion. Most of the times, parents don't explain to their children why they are asking them to do something, because the parents themselves don't know why they are doing that. Most of the times, what parents end up doing is that they tell their children, someone else has been successful at this, so you should also do this. I will not blame the children here. I will blame the parents. If your child is rebelling, somewhere it is your fault, because you have not been very clear with your child as to your own motives. So I remember I said that my dad told me that you can't become a doctor because you look like a patient. So why will someone come to you for treatment?
Right.
So if I was refused something and if I was told that go do this, I was told why. So I'll tell you, I never wanted to be an engineer. I'm I'm a horrible engineer. I'm pretty much one of the world's worst engineers you will find. But my dad made me do engineering, and he told me why. So I cleared IITs and all, but I specifically went to NSIT because here is where I was getting computer engineering. And my dad was very clear that beta, computer engineering is something where you have to sit on a chair and do this. And with your disability, it will be easier for you to have a job wherein you're technically qualified, so you will always have a job if you're good at your job, and your job will not be too much of physical exertion, which might be a problem for you. So I was told why I was made to do, why those career paths were picked for me. And the motive of those career paths was about me and not about my parents' own emotional desires or about comparing me to the world. That's where we make the mistake. We don't make our child pick careers basis their abilities. We're always telling our kids to pick a career which suits us, our emotional needs, we live vicariously through our children, and we compare them to the world and say someone else is doing this, and wow, that person is has such a glorious life to us as an outsider who is not living that life, by the way, and then we'll tell you that you do this. So I would suggest that there needs to be all parents should if you why not actually get a career counseling session done for your child. Let your child figure out what they should be doing, and this should include what their interest is, what their actual ability is. By the way, in schools, we're constantly telling our kids, stay silent, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. My biggest complaint that ever came from school was she's very talkative. Thank God I was talkative. I have social skills today. I can do this session without preparing, right? Because I was a talkative child. We don't work on the communication skills of our children. And we take that as a negative thing, that if a child is talkative, that's bad. But it's not. We need to nurture the talent of our child. So if a child is talkative, think that the child can think on their feet and entertain people, because you can't be talkative to yourself in a classroom. There obviously have to be others listening and responding. So, that's a talent that child has. But what we end up doing is we tell the child there is something wrong with you because you are chatty. And my talking was always about helping someone else. I was always being the agony aunt and guiding someone else in their problems. But that's okay. That's a different thing about what I was talking. But see, the problem is we don't realize that that's also an ability our child has. And we push them into a career where they can use that and be happy. We're always telling our children to pick careers which suit our ego needs or which we think are right for us as parents. So I think telling your kids that do this because it's right for you and for for the kind of lifestyle we envision you having, and then give them their choices. So like I said, I was always told why not this and why this, and then I was told it's end of the day, it's your choice. Does that make sense? Does that
Beautiful,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Era, beautiful. Anybody else? One question, last question, because we are now racing with the time. We need to close. We can't take some Facebook questions. Farooq, you want to ask anything from Afghanistan? Zada Farooq.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Yes,
Happy
good
to
evening.
hear Ira. Ira, you are a very great lady. I'm proud of you. I hope that I hope that all the people disabled like you have good opportunity to be improve about their stories and backgrounds. Also here in Afghanistan, the disabled people have many problems. I don't know what you do, what you uh,
Your internet is not good.
what you advise for them to improve their selves.
So I believe you're asking about what can people with disabilities do in a place like Afghanistan where there are a lot of problems, right?
No, she's talking about overall women empowerment issues in
Okay.
Afghanistan. As I did share that we do a lot of work for United Nations women, we have had opportunity of training top women of Afghanistan, ministers, senators, directors, educationists, and Unijizada Farooq is our chapter in charge for Afghanistan. She is an women rights leader in Afghanistan. So we do training for these on transformational leadership for these senators, ministers, all women, only women. And that's where the women power concept also was built up. So she is talking about issues of women in Afghanistan and what is your view? I think that's what she is looking at.
Um, I understand that it's much tougher to be confident in a situation where the world is crumbling around you. And from a very, very liberal country, you've actually regressed back to a place where women are now have a lot of restrictions. But somewhere, I also think that as women, we tend to restrict each other as well. And that's where the problem lies. We need to stop blaming the men also, because a lot of us women accept those restrictions and allow other people to restrict other women, and things arise. So a movement like yours, where you're helping other women break out of them and think about it, like I said, my only advice is start thinking that all the shoulds in your life should apply to you, because you're a human being living in a world around you, and that's it. So stop having the shoulds for which are shoulds for you as women. The minute we start thinking like that, a lot of our problems will disappear, and we'll be able to adjust a lot better with the world around us, and we will be able to reach our goals and make something out of ourselves. So I think that's the one advice I would give, that have all your rules basis you being a human being and not basis you being a girl.
Fantastic. Ira, you are fascinating. You are inspiring. Ira, as I said, women, hashtag women power, global movement, established in 20 countries around the world, from US, UK, Canada, to Africa, to Europe, to Asia Pacific, everywhere, 20 countries already. I need your commitment, Ira, this evening,
Absolutely.
that you will support us in this women power concept whenever we require your inspiration, our women. Whether it is going to be in US, it's going to be it's going to be digitally, and of course, Thailand, you're welcome. You're going to be traveling face to face beyond COVID. So when the COVID is gone, and in order to ensure, I'm sure
So, yeah.
I'm sure you can.
I believe we have a question from Yuan here. Do you feel that inspiring confidence from parents or mentors as a child grows up is one of the most important factors to success?
Yeah,
I do
you're
believe-
from Lisbon. Lisbon, yes, she's had a question. Yeah.
Right. So I do believe it's important, because you need to start. We treat our child with as we try to protect our children a lot, and we forget that when they grow up, they're going to be facing the world alone. You can't always protect anyone. So it's much more important in that case that you prepare your children for the world that is going to come. They're going to meet when they grow up. Hence, I do absolutely believe that it's important that your children have faith in you. So, I actually have never lied to my parents. I don't lie to my parents except for how much I've eaten that day and when I was a kid about reading. But that's about it. I don't lie to my parents about anything else because they don't judge me on that and scold me on that. They tell me that, this is wrong and this is why this is wrong. But then I also get to counter them and say that you are thinking wrong. This is not wrong for these reasons. And that because I'm allowed to have a conversation with them, uh, I'm a lot sorted in my head. I don't do things out of rebellion, and I don't do things out of, you know, uh, just to do them because someone told me not to. So it's very important to establish that conversation with your children, to let them tell you things and then not react emotionally from your own insecurities, and to tell them that this is why we think this is right or wrong, and let them tell you why they agree or disagree with you. So I was allowed to agree and disagree, and I believe that's how the world is. And in fact, even if they didn't allow, I'm someone who also puts my point across very rationally. Like I said, I'm attached emotionally to my effort and not to the results. So, I'll be honest, if I was my own children's parent, like if I was the parent and my parents were my children, we probably wouldn't be getting along so well. But I was lucky, I got liberal parents. And I had those opportunities. And I do agree that if your parents give you confidence, if they think that you can do it, you can conquer the world. And in my case, my parents never thought that my disability meant I could not do something, and hence I could think I could do something, do everything, and hence that's how I've grown up.
Ira, fantastic, fascinating. Milani, you want to say something from Spain? Milani is the chapter in charge for Spain, Women Power Global Movement. Milani, you can unmute yourself. Milani? Okay.
Hello, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, hello. Well, Ida, that was absolutely wonderful. I think you're inspiring everybody. I'm not even a parent, but I think every single word you've said is applicable to every single human being. And I like how you have told us not to label ourselves, and it's not a question of being a woman or not, it's a question of being human. So thank you so much for your inspiring words.
Thanks a ton, Milani. Sonal is the chapter in charge, India. 1.3 billion population. Global movement, women power. Sonal, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think, Ira, thank you so much. And I think you're one of the most inspiring women I've ever heard. I think you've truly, truly energized me. And I'm so glad to be a part of this discussion. And I really look forward to work with you on India. And I think your commitment today, I think this will really do wonders to all the women who are right now not part of it, but we really want to have them included in this initiative. And thank you so much for your time and effort.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And last question I can take from Cheryl Gaikwad. She is the Women Power chapter in charge, Mumbai. Cheryl, you can unmute yourself. Cheryl?
Hi, Ira.
Hi,
Yeah,
Cheryl.
Hi, Ira. How are you?
I'm
Can
good.
you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yeah. First of all, your inspiration is really the strength. For one reason is that across he has given all women to come under one umbrella today and energized you and us through your inspiration, the way you have spoken about your childhood, and through your inspiration, I'm going to give it to my daughter because I got my daughter after 14 years. And
Yeah.
when you say that when we have to label, that there is a label when we put for our child and we say, you do this, you do this. After listening to your conversation today, I feel that we have to give our children a free way what they should do and what they should be in this coming digital world.
And after this pandemic, what I felt was something a woman is a woman when she does so many things at home front and also looking the outside world of today. So it's really inspiring. May God bless you, my friend Ira.
Can I also give one? I think I missed one point.
Yeah.
When you're setting goals for your children, do set higher goals than their ability. By the way, you know,
Sure.
give them the option,
Absolutely.
but also set higher goals than they set for themselves. So give them the
Absolutely.
option. We should. So my parents always guided me. They didn't force it on me, but they did give me those set of options and say that you should try for these things. Pick whichever one of them you like, and these are the reasons why you should try for these things. So
Right.
I believe a lot of the parents today make that mistake of being
Right.
extremely liberal also and letting
Right.
their children decide for themselves. But
Right.
we must also remember that a 15-year-old or 17-year-old does not have fully functional mental faculties. So they may not
Absolutely.
make those choices perfectly.
Right.
And their experience in the world is also much lesser than ours. Hence,
Right.
basics we need to give them. That level we need to set. After that, it's
Yeah.
up to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating, Ira.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Bakshi.
much. And now I would not like to take more questions now because Ira's time is very precious. She takes care of time. Now, before we close, Ira, again, your commitment to women power, global movement, globally, to support us whenever we require your inspiration. Can I take your commitment? Can I take your commitment?
Up to I'll be glad to do that.
Thank you so much. So nice of you. I
Sir,
want
one
to take.
last word.
Yes, who's that?
Anshul.
Yeah, Anshul, yeah, tell me.
Sir,
Yeah.
just a saying for today's session. किस कदर शुक्रिया अदा करूं, किस कदर शुक्रिया अदा करूं उस खुदा का, अल्फाज नहीं मिलते. जिंदगी
Wow.
इतनी इंस्पिरेशनल ना होती अगर इरा जैसे लोग ना मिलते. Thank you, Ira, and thank you, Dr. Bakshi.
Wow.
That was extremely kind of you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Now I would be requesting Achan in Narula, Director, Global Talent, Bangkok, Thailand, to formally do a vote of thanks for this wonderful, iconic, rapport, admirable lady called Ira. Intelligent, rich, awesome, illuminator, realistic, accomplished, ideal, reachable, admirable, iconic, rapport, abundance. Ira is gone into my head now. I am going to talk to the world about Ira, the super women power, IAS topper 2014, making a difference to the world, to the communities, and to the future generations. You should see her YouTubes, you should see her lectures around the world, what she is talking about, and how she is communicating to the future generations. It is amazing. She is fantastic Miss Energy of India and a superwoman of our country. I am grateful and thankful, and I request in Narula, he is a Thai Sikh, born in Thailand, 5 generations in Thailand. He is going to give a formal vote of thanks. In Narula. Achanin.
अभी रुक जाओ, अभी देर है. I'm sorry.
In Narula.
Okay. Can you hear me, Dr. Bakshi?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank yourself, Dr. Bakshi, for bringing on such a great lady. It brilliantly is wonderful. So really thank you to know and Dr. Bakshi. As far as the lady of the evening is concerned, what can I say? No words can describe what she has been telling everyone. She has been giving an inspiration to everyone, not only in India, but around the world. Women's equality is very important because women create the future of the world. And with this equality, we will have a better world, a peaceful world. Now, it's very important that we think positive. There'll be people around us who will try to pull us down. But it's very important that we keep cool and we keep to ourselves, as recommended by Ira, to be positive, to be blindly optimistic, and to move forward in stride and in sound so that we can make this world peaceful. To all the men of the world, please, please, please respect the women. They are the gender of our mother. And thank you. Ira, thank you to you to no end. And I look forward to welcoming you in Thailand one day when the skies open up. And I hope
Absolutely.
you will take this invitation up.
Absolutely.
Surely.
Thank you so much. I anyway love traveling, so that'll be my break from office.
Yes,
We
yes.
would
And
love
Ira,
to
one more thing.
you in Bangkok.
All the credits. You are what you are, and a big part of it is because of your dad and mom. Thank you to your dad. Thank you to your mom.
We salute them. We salute Ira's
Absolutely,
dad and mom
absolutely.
this evening to bring such a great personality to the country. And I would
Absolutely.
like to say at the end, and this is going to be in Urdu, and then I will translate for those who doesn't understand Urdu. Ira is like this. खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तदबीर से पहले खुदा बंद है, बता तेरी रजा क्या है, बता तेरी रजा क्या है. That's Ira. That means make yourself so great, even the God will say, what do you need in life? What do you need in life? What do you need in life? Ira is a God's gift by her attitude and by her braveness, by her commitment, by her deliverability, by her energy, by her faith. I salute Ira Singhal this evening, the superpower, women power under this global movement to be part of us. Thank you very much. You have personally given each one of us, we are elder to you. We are elder to you. And you know what you gave us? You gave us so much of learning by your session. It's amazing. You are awesome. God bless you. God bless you. Take care of yourself and you reach major, bigger heights in this great country of India, wherein people will proudly talk about खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तदबीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. You are a God's gift to us. Thank you very much. And I would like to
Thank you, Ira.
Who's on Facebook, who is on YouTube and Zoom. Yes, sir. In Narula, yes, sir. You say something.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again. Great learning.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Ira.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bakshi, thank you so
Bye,
much
take
for giving an
care.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I assure you that this woman empower, I will surely do something good for
Yeah,
your organization.
Mumbai, you have to get in touch with Sonal. Mumbai is your chapter.